you only need 1 to 2 hours of deep work. You don't really need anything else in order to get the success you want, whether that's in studies or any other work that you're doing. I'll be mainly talking about studies here. When you were young or while growing up, you would have seen these videos of, oh, I didn't sleep for like nights in order to get the work done. I sleep like 3 hours, 4 hours a day to get the work done. And that's bullshit. All of that is bullshit. I can confidently say that because I have been through all of that. There have been days where I have studied for 7 hours, 8 hours. I used to wake up at 8. I used to study from 9 to 12. I used to study then from 3 to 6. Then I used to study from 8 to 11:30. Sure, I got my amount of sleep required, but you don't need to study 7 to 9 hours. Even if you're writing any, no matter what exam it is, all right? You don't need to study that long. I'm in university and I realized two things. That the first main thing, which is the topic of this video, is you need to study um, 1 to 2 hours every day of deep work, like deep study. And what happens is when you are in this flow state, in this deep study state, okay, is so, when you generally study, you're somewhat preoccupied, your brain is tired, you just came back from class and everything, you talked with your friends and everything, you've been like your entire day is almost over, and now you're sitting down to study. What happens is, if it takes you, like, you study 10 pages in 30 minutes, if you were to wake up early at, like, say 5 a.m., I know this sounds cliche, okay, but believe me, there's a premise to this. If you wake up at 5 a.m. and you studied those 10 pages, rather than having it being studied in 30 minutes, you would have studied that in 12 minutes. 12 minutes. It sounds shocking, but I did this for an year in one of my classes, on one of my grades. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and I realized this. I used to study from 5 to 6:30. I got more done. More, not just more done in amount, okay? Just, I got more done, not just in amount, but also in quality. If I studied 15 pages in that 1.5 hours, okay, I would remember that the next day, and I would get up and revise. And also, revising anything when you wake up early, like Eat the Frog, right? Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy. It says you should do the most hardest task the first thing in the morning. And so, because you have like these brain points, right? Like when you wake up, you have brain points and everything. So, you should get up and do the most hardest task first. And not only that, it's like when you wake up and the first thing you're doing is studying, like let's take you in this deep flow state of studying, right? Not only will you get more done in a less amount of time and with higher quality, you will feel satisfied for the rest of the day. Your day will start off with such a banger. Like you'll be like, oh, I already did so I'm in university, right? So we have modules. So each module has like 7 to 8 topics, and if I get up and I study like at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., I get up early and I study for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I can get easily 3 topics done, no matter how big or small. The best thing is I'll remember those 3 topics for the rest till my exams come. Obviously, I'll forget it after exam because this is how the brain works. When you don't need that information, your brain just forgets it. But that's what I'm saying, because it's not like the industrial revolution time where you need to like work for 7 hours, 9 hours. No, you don't need to do that. It's more like the lesser hours you work, but the more quality of that work that you're doing, not just studies, anything else, the better it would be, the better it is. That is the new meta, because our parents tell us study for 4 hours, 4 to 7, on even 9 hours at times. And okay, sure, if you did 2 hours of deep work, I think so doing 2 hours of deep work is really good, and it will take you a lot of like weeks and even months to get to that level where you can like sit down and do 2 hours of really deep work, where like you think you have studied for 2 hours, but you will feel like you've actually studied for 6 hours. Those 2 hours, the time slows down very much. It's weird because it slows down very much, but it also goes by really quickly. It's kind of weird. You'll predict like, oh, I've most probably studied for 1 hour, but it turns out you've actually studied for 12 hours, 12 minutes or 12 hours. But then you'll be like, but it feels like I've done the work I would have done in 2 hours. Like, so that's really it. So work less hours, but whenever you're working, work with higher quality, no distractions, get up early, okay? And even if not get up early, whenever you get up, the first thing you should do is get up, brush. If you want to have breakfast, sit down and study. I would even recommend you first study for 1 hour and then you go have breakfast. The like, I can't say like, oh, don't brush, just sit down and study, like brush, you'll smell bad. But still, basically less work hours, and whenever you're working, work higher quality, and that's the thing. And the second thing is work consistently. Those 1 hour of deep study, 1 and 2 hours of deep study, I'm aiming for 2 hours of deep study, you will be doing. If you do that every day, you have to do it every day, right? You will have no competition. You just won't have any competition. It's not possible until unless someone else is also doing this. There's no way you can have any competition who can compete with you, because you're working to. They can study for 4 5 hours, but you know what's gonna happen? They'll study for 40 minutes and then they'll get up and listen to music or play or something for 20 minutes, and then they'll talk for 10 minutes, and then they'll study again for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then they'll again do some fuck around for 5 minutes, and then they'll be like, oh, I need to study, and then they'll study for 1 hour. But like, they're so distracted that their brain is continuously, fiddling around, that they won't really get to focus. Okay, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but basically I'm making this cut because this video I recorded it for 6 minutes 45 seconds. Okay, I actually went till there and I came back. I got in such a flow state of speaking about flow state and everything and deep work and focus for like 1 2 hours, not 5 6 7 hours, which you can't fucking do. Yeah, that I thought I was recording this video for like 15 minutes, but turns out I had recorded it for like 6 minutes 45 seconds, even though I felt like I was speaking for 15 minutes. So that's like such a perfect example of how well this deep flow state type thing works. It's like a fucking superpower, because you think you've worked for like double the time, but you've gotten the work done you would have done normally in half the time. So yeah, if you get what I mean, you get what I mean. Okay, take care, bye.